All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Fred. I own and operate Fred's Firearms here in Oakdale, California. This is my good buddy Jimmy Freeman right here. He owns and operates Freeman Custom Designs, Freeman Custom Firearms. This is our first little attempt at getting some stuff out and recording our thoughts and going over some subject matter. So, cheers to you, buddy.
Cheers.
So normally on a Saturday after the shop, we head down to this place called Last Call Brewing. And it's just a little brewery down the street. It's a couple blocks up. We usually walk over there. And that's what we're drinking today. We got the mobile Last Call Brewing. I'm drinking the El Jefe. It's a great one. They got a lot of good stuff.
They call it the mobile?
I think they call this the mobile. This is actually called El Jefe, but it's like this is their, like, hey, if you're going to be mobile, let me go get a beer and bring it somewhere else and drink it. They put them in these cans.
Nice.
Yeah, it's real good, man. So
I like the twisty better than the pop or the twisties.
I like drinking them out of cold glasses, man. So that's what I like about that. Yeah. Yeah, man. Let me introduce myself. My name is Fred Smith, easiest name in the world to remember. I own and operate Fred's Firearms. Give you a little story in the history of Fred's. Let's see. Military. Joined the United States Marine Corps, very early age, ripe old 17. Had some good and some bad, but mostly good experiences in the U.S. military. I got out and decided I want to get into law enforcement, and I ended up getting into security first. Prior to law enforcement, I did some government contracting, and then I ended up following that up with law enforcement. So I've been in the game for a while as far as guns go. While in security and law enforcement, I decided, hey, these guys are spending a lot of money on gear and gloves and guns and bullets and everything else. I could be a sales rep in that. So with the help of my wife, I kept bugging her to get the FFL and the business license and all that other stuff. Before you knew it, we were, slinging product out of our home, a lot of my coworkers, everything. And then before you know it, we had contracts and all that going on. And one thing led to the next, and we were needing a brick and mortar store to expand and get bigger. And yeah, I didn't have to go very far as the name goes, Fred's Firearms, yeah. But that's what I started with, so that's where I'm at. And I love the store. This is my fourth location, my fourth building. It's a really cool historical piece of the rock here in Oakdale. And yeah.
Isn't the name so popular they even had it in Dexter?
Yeah, let's take credit for that. Yeah, Dexter. I haven't even watched that new one, man. The new one, so the new Dexter, man. Like, me and Jennifer were so in love with the first one, and then that new one came out where like his son comes back to visit him, and he works at that Fred's gun store or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah. So I just wasn't into it though.
I couldn't. I watched the first
wanted to watch
season
it
a little bit, but
just because it said Fred's
Fred's
Guns.
Fire.
Yeah, of course. But then as it went, I'm like, I don't like this one as good as the first one. But yeah, anyway, so that's my story. Jimmy and I know each other. Stanislaus SWAT, Stanislaus Patrol, Stanislaus Sheriff's Office. I'll let Jimmy give you a little bit about his background.
Jim Freeman. Let's see. Started out in the late 2000s. Matter of fact, I think it was a couple weeks before 2000. So it was December 1999. I started with the Stanislaus County Sheriff's
Already
Office.
like it's 1999.
Oh, shit. Anyway, went with the sheriff's office, operations department, and I believe joined the military in 2004, actually the Army National Guard, and was stationed out of Oakdale, California. During that time at the sheriff's office, I kind of got into 1911s, and I loved the design and loved what John Moses Browning did with that. Like I've always said, that either John Moses Browning was an alien or was given the designs
The real
by
boss
aliens.
man of the guns.
Yeah,
That's
no
right.
kidding. Anyway, I started tinkering with them and learning about them. And next thing you know, friends at the department would start asking me to do stuff on their 1911s, and it just kind of grew from there, and it was more of a kind of word of mouth thing. And then after meeting Fred from the SWAT team, decided to kind of open it up and started working out of his shop. And now we do them like backed up and do them for people everywhere. So it's been pretty awesome.
Some of the stuff Jim does with these 1911s, and we probably should have had one here to like show them and everything else, you know. But all right, so we're gonna keep on going. Antone, our guy, who's like low crawling and everything around right now.
Literally low crawling.
He's the one that's got all this cool. You guys, or whoever's watching this, if anybody ever does, if we watch it again, whatever. You can't see all these lights and everything else, but this is the first time I've ever been in front of equipment that's so advanced. And Anthony has been part of Fred's Firearms for, I think, a little over a decade now, like on and off here and there, yeah. But he also does a lot of this videography, and he's really been helpful with our gun broker. You know, over the years, been expanding. We don't just do in-store sales. We also do gun broker. We do CCW classes and courses. We do a lot of online correspondence, that kind of thing, instructional stuff, you know. Jimmy's getting pretty good at his videos, but anyway, he's going to bring us a little gun just so we can like talk about him while we do that. But you know, another purpose that we wanted to get into is everyone's doing this kind of thing right now. Everyone's publicating, everyone's getting out there. It's like a social networking world that we live in, and it's crazy for guys like us that, you know, have some gray on their hair that remember having like a home telephone number with either a rotary dial or buttons. Yeah, well, there you go, or no hair. And then coming along to these things where just your whole life kind of revolves around them, you know. I use mine for communication, but I make money off of it too. I use it for photographs and information and gun broker and everything. So anyway, we want to kind of reach out and say, hey, what gun's good for you? What kind of stuff do you like? Of course, we're also trying to reach out to some of the guys in the industry too that might want to become a part of this. I think we offer some expertise, and then we're also looking to be educated by others with expertise in this field, or even be educated by others that are curious, you know. So I deal with, I got another guy that, you know, God willing, I'm having a good time drinking some beer, so I hope this kind of stuff keeps going. And
You're talking about videos, like people that...
Yeah, absolutely, man. Different videos, different people in the industry, you know. We want to learn too, you know.
Valuetainment, hit us up.
Who's Valuetainment?
It's the guy that told you, I showed you that video earlier, and they're really good. Really good. How about Joe Rogan? Maybe you can give us a call, Joe.
Yeah, I listen to that guy every day.
Okay, by the way, people are going to watch our stuff. It's going to go down in the annals of history.
The annals, dude?
The annals. YouTube lore.
I don't know if I want to go down in annals, but...
something like that.
Something like that. All right, so anyway, yeah, we want to talk about different brands and products. I'm kind of an everything gun guy. I got into this because I just love the history of firearms. You know, the nation we're in, I could get on a soapbox all day long and sound real patriotic about amendments and everything else. But yeah, I don't know. I love guns. I've used them all my life. I've been in a career with firearms my entire adult life. And they're a extremely important element to why we even have a country today. You know, we literally would not have them. This country today, it wouldn't be what we have today and the choices that we're able to make if it wasn't for firearms in this nation.
The First Amendment wouldn't be here?
No.
Nothing.
No, it props up all other amendments. So yeah, with that being said, Anthony gave me a little cheat sheet to kind of look at, and we're going to deep dive into some history here. And let me get Jimmy started actually on his favorite, his 1911. He loves 1911. He talked about it a little bit, John Moses Browning and stuff like that. So let him talk about some of the stuff he does, and I'm just going to let you run with it. He's sitting here. He's got a cool Kimber that I'm sure he's done a bunch of stuff to. It's like almost disassembled and everything else. So Jimmy, you roll with that.
This one right here is Kimber. One of our customers purchased, and it's supposed to be like one of their top of the line ones. And don't get me going down that rabbit hole. But anyway, he took it out, shot it, and wasn't very happy with it.
Well, hold on now. I'm going to get you on that rabbit hole real quick. Let me ask you a question. Kimber is a very, very well-known brand. Everybody kind of knows it. It may not be the most popular, but if you say Kimber to someone,
Yes.
for the most part, they've had enough marketing that over the years and the decades that most people, even if they're not into guns, understand them. So why do you say it's supposed to be one of the best in a sarcastic tone? Why? Tell me why.
I'm probably going to get some hate for some Kimber lovers on this, but hey, don't get me wrong. Kimbers were amazing. Maybe like 20 years ago. I think they were one of the big custom large kind of manufactured 1911s out there. And then all of a sudden time started going on and the quality started dipping, and they just started focusing on quantity more than quality. Like this one was over $2,000. And
What kind of Kimber is that?
there's the, what is it, the Rapid.
Okay.
Anyway, he got it and it was super loose. The frame to slide fit wasn't great, and the barrel fit was horrible. And he brought it back and said, "Hey, I need you just I know I just bought this, but can you just
This is also, like, while you're talking, like, this is also a customer that Jimmy's done, I don't know, like 7 or 8 1911s for or something.
Well, he
So
wants
he's-
to. His goal is to be in the Guinness Book World Records for a 1911 built in every caliber known to man. And matter of fact, he wants to get stuff that isn't around anymore, and he has money, so he wants to pay for people to make the rounds and the barrels. So he wants a custom build every one in every caliber known to man, built by me eventually.
Yeah, and I mentioned that too because I think you wouldn't know. Like, I didn't know about the details until Jim, was getting way in depth with what he does. I mean, the dude gets into the molecules of the item, right? Like, I'm a shooter. That's what I am. I know a little bit about history here and there. I know the basics. And the stuff I tried to kind of finite or accurize myself with was actually like speed shooting, your point of aim and your point of impact, picking up motion, picking up details on faster reset, your trigger, like what you can
grab
do.
the slide stop?
Jim's done all that too, but with the 1911s, I think this guy's bringing this to you because he's had a taste of what you're able to implement into that firearm and the improvements you're able to do, and then he's educated now with those improvements, right? So that's something that's big. So now he's like, dude, I won't even have one unless this guy Jim is like decking them out and doing all of his stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool because other people see it, and it just, again, like you were talking about earlier, it started doing, actually it was because of you. You said I needed to start doing YouTube videos on the builds.
Yeah,
And it
record some
started
of
from
it.
there, yeah.
It's a lot of education, man. I mean, dude, like, the thing is, like, I don't even know about all that. And, I got the gun store. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, Fred will know. Like, I know what guns are going to work, and I don't care what gun you give me. I'll make it work. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, there are some, like, real budget guns out there that, I think that superior and inferior and the best and the worst is kind of a matter of opinion, right? You're going to get some guns on the market that have just put way more research and time into their development. And those guns, yeah, they might be in general better. But like what Jim's doing, the stuff, there's not a lot of people that have that education. We just looked at the 1911s today. Marky and Tommy came in, and they're like, oh, can you get me a so-and-so? What was it called? The Keanu Reeves does the movies with him. Anyway, they're...
Staccato.
No, it's not a staccato, dude.
Oh, the Terran Tactical.
Terran Tactical makes some crazy gun. It's called the Viper or something
Yes,
like that.
the one that has, at the very end, it's sharp so you can stab the people when you run out, I guess.
I guess, man. But those guns are like 10 G's, right? And they're online. And, okay, so, like, I've shot a $10,000 gun. I've shot a $1,500 gun. Until Jim started explaining this stuff to me, to be honest with you, I didn't really know, I'm like, dude, I'm here to speed shoot and shoot targets and do this and that and everything else, like, I get it, the $200 gun, you're gonna be able to tell the difference on that if you get a high point or something compared, because it's got different mechanisms on it. It doesn't lock up properly. There's, you got to do stuff to it in order to even get it at the level of ease of use. But what what you're doing with these, I think this is great because it does take some education on understanding. Like, wow, that's possible. That's tip of the spear stuff.
Yeah. Well, like you've been there. We've had customers come in and they have never. We've had ones that have never shot firearms before and wanted their first one, or never shot a 1911 before, and they wanted me to build a custom 1911 for their very first. And I was telling them, I would love to build it for you, but do this first. And I'm gonna get hate, but I would tell them to get a Rock Island, because Rock Island is a very, very good, well-built budget 1911. I know. It's not made in the U.S., but still, let's be honest.
It's a Filipino import, and it is made to U.S. Colt standards.
Exactly. Yeah. Better than Colt does it now. Man, that's going to get a lot of hate, too.
Yeah, that
Jesus, that's going to get a lot of hate. Anyway, I'll tell them, get this. Have this, shoot it. Shoot the crap out of it. Get used to the 1911, then come back to me, and we'll build you a 1911 of your dreams. You'll be able to appreciate and know the difference. If I built you custom 1911 all perfect and decked out and you took it out and shoot it, you would be like, why did I just spend $6,000 for? I don't understand. Now you shoot it, you go shoot another 1911 or factory 1911 and a lot of custom 1911s, and then you come in and have me build you one, you will see the difference. Totally see the difference.
What are the first characteristics of that weapons platform that you improved? If you could think back to when you started and you were taking some of those courses in those schools and stuff, like what is
the very first thing I did,
Yeah.
the very first thing that a lot of people want, and it really doesn't have to do, it can, it's checkering. That was the very first thing a lot of people wanted.
Explain what that is.
The checkering, this is not checkered. I didn't do this because it already had it. This is like the golf ball grip. I don't know if you can see that.
Or not, yeah, but whatever.
Can you pick that up? No?
You have checkering on that one right
Yeah,
there?
this one's checkering. Okay, so this is checkering. There's a lot of them out there that aren't checkered. And what that is, it makes a texture. And there's, you can go really low. I've seen some of them that feel like a ancient, what are they, maces? Those round balls with the spikes on it.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Thing.
Aggressive.
It's
like a bunch of little pyramids.
Remember that one that the customer, I don't want to say his name, but the one that's having me do the bills, that first one he got, that he brought in, and it had the, what was it, the blued slide, and it color cased hardened frame, and it was the 50 cal, or the 50.
Oh, it's a Desert Eagle?
No. God, I can't remember the brand. Anyway, it was
Anyway,
really nice. But that sucker was like 10 lines per inch. Remember, we felt the grip and we're like, dude, I don't have weak hands and they're not sensitive, but that one would hurt.
I mean, I knew about checkering too until I watched you do it, and then I was like, "Oh, that's how it's done." Because I never even knew like how checkering was produced on a firearm, and it's on wood, it's on brass, it's on steel, it's on aluminum, and this guy's got like a set of hand files. Well, now he's got like a set to put up on that machine and everything else, But he started with a set of these hand files and just painstakingly, one pass at a time, checkering these by hand.
Well, it's the LPI. In the LPI, when you hear it says lines per inch. And the crazy part too is like you've seen on like the wood, like rifle stocks or shotgun stocks, up towards the front, there'll be checkering, but it's done differently. It's kind of crossways like this, and
then
it's done differently.
The checkering that are on these grips, on different points of these grips, primarily it's on the grips. I mean, it could be on any part of the gun. But what is the advantage of having a line per inch that is different than another?
That's preference. That is preference. Some people don't like it as aggressive. So usually I tell on checkering, I will say don't go lower than 20 lines per inch. You get a really good grip on that. I mean, it's a little more aggressive than I would say, like, say, remember old school time? You used to cut out like grip tape and put it on the gun. People did in the past. Remember that stuff on the Glocks and stuff?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, even at the sheriff's office, people would put that on
They
until
would,
they were
man.
told
Yep.
not to.
Yep. It's like a skateboard tape.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
Anyway, so you'd have the 20 lines for it, so it would be kind of each shooter's preference of what they want. Some would want a coarse one, would be the 20, and then there you can go up to get really, really fine. You can go, like, I've seen them to 40 lines per inch, which is super fine. And like this one that we just showed you, that would be about, looks like 30 lines per inch. So the standard that's I like to use, because it's a kind of not too coarse but not too fine, is 20 lines or 25 lines per inch.
This one has 30 lines per inch right
That's
here
30, yeah.
on this Kimber Target Elite,
Yeah.
available at Fred's Firearms. All right.
A little pitch. Anyway, so it would just be a personal perspective of what feels good to you in your hand, and that's the difference too about custom. So this, it already comes there, and someone go, God, I like the gun, but it's a little too fine for me, but I'll deal with it. That's the cool thing about, man, you suck that sucker down.
I mean, you're milking yours. I'm just drinking mine normally, right? That's all I'm doing.
Well, let me take a quick drink real quick.
We got another one of these in the back too.
Nice. So anyway, when you have it done custom, you can say, I want this, whatever, 20, 25, 30, 40. It goes up to 50, but usually I don't have a 70. I was going to get a 70 lines per inch file. And that one's really fine to do machine when I do it on the machine. But usually like the 40 and 50 lines per inch, that's what I'll do when I don't do it on this one.
What are the most common areas? Because we're on checkering right now, so let's just dive into checkering. So what are the most common areas on the 1911 platform that are checkered?
Well, you can go checkered or serrated, but the most common area is the front strap. And then you also have the back strap or the main spring housing. There's a lot
all
of
just
them.
to assist with your grips,
Yes.
gloves, no gloves.
Yes.
So you can get that good, finite, solid
Correct.
grip. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's also, you can do it under the trigger guard. That works out best when you do an undercut on the trigger guard. And what the undercut does is it helps you rise up your hold. And a lot of people say it doesn't, but I'll argue with them until I'm blue in the face, because it does. It helps you when you grip it and you're aiming it. It helps you get a natural point of aim and better control, and you can also help the muzzle rise. But anyway, a lot of people will checker or serrate underneath the trigger guard too. And then when I make the sights, it has a little bit of serration on this one. This one was done by Kimber, but when I'm building a custom one, I also build custom rear sights and front sights, and I'll serrate the rear of the sight so that'll help cut down on glare, along with, which I did serrate the rear of the slide. And this one was 40 lines per inch. I had to measure the back of this rear sight so that way I can match the same lines per inch and put that on the rear of the slide like that.
Would you, dude? I have to put my glasses on to even see
I know.
that stuff. But there they are. There's the serrations. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I like that, man. And I've seen the ones that you've done. Yeah.
And then
I
sometimes
mean, that
you can
does give
checker
you
it.
advantage too.
Yeah, it cuts down on
for
the glare.
Yep, cuts down on your glare for your sight. So if you're, so here's a question for you, man, because you've been doing this for a little bit. You've gotten a wealth of knowledge doing this kind of thing. I've never known anybody that has gone so in depth with.
I think since 2004, 2004, that's when I started diving into it.
Yeah. So I mean, and then so that's what you started is with the checkering, and from there it went to serrations and blah blah blah, and all this other stuff, right? And now you're this 1911 guy, and your end goal, which you've told me, is one of these days you want to be in that 1911 guild, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the goal, right? And so I believe you're going to get that goal, man. So let me ask you this, man. If anybody is listening or anybody's wanting some advice, where would you tell them to start? Would you tell them, hey man, if you're trying to get into this kind of thing and you want to do this, would it start with the checkering? Would you have done something different?
I don't know, telling someone where to start. It would be like, for me, I thought it looked cool, and that's just something that I kind of wanted to start with. So it's something like, you start where you're interested, what part. Okay, I want to figure this part out at.
So
and that's what I
that was
wanted
the
to figure
part
out.
that you're like, man, I want better checkering on this 1911,
Yes.
you know? And
Yeah.
then boom, you just did it.
Yes.
I love that, man.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I
Yeah.
took it down because it wasn't deep. It was on the Kimber that I had a long time ago, a long time ago. And be careful too. You know, one thing you do when you start working on them, work on your own first before. Hey, I'll do yours, buddy. Let me do that. And you never done it before. A lot of people have gotten. I've had to.
100%. You're
I've had to fix
absolutely
people's
right, man.
screw
Yeah.
ups.
Do your own. Get some knowledge. Get confidence. Confidence is what takes the show with all this stuff.
Yeah.
And a Rock Island's a great,
Yes.
great one for that, because you could pick up Rock Islands. We've had them on sale, I think, for like $469, $479. They're normally about $499 to $529, depending on what one you're going to get. But 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I guess that sounds kind of expensive, but I don't think that they've really budged too much on price since then.
Not rock, no.
Yeah, and that's a great one. They use decent metallurgy in rock, and I mean, you could get used ones even too if you're just wanting to like try this kind of stuff on the side and hobby it out. I've sold used ones, as low as $300. They don't come in the shop that often, because usually when people buy a rock for like $499 or something, they're holding on to it.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
mean,
not worth it,
it's even though it's Philippine made 1911, they're very well built. And I hate saying that. I would love it to say made in the USA,
Yeah.
because we have worked with, remember the auto ordinances?
Yeah, and
Made in the
auto's
USA,
gotten,
and
so
my God,
that's
what a
true,
headache.
man. Auto's gotten crazy too, because I was selling auto ordinances when we started for the low fives, sometimes even the high fours. Auto ordinances are now like $900,
Yeah.
man.
And
They're
it hasn't been-
crazy.
Yeah,
It's the
and-
same gun.
Yeah.
It's no, I think it switched over. They switched over ownership.
CZ
like
or
CZ or Thompson or someone owned them. I don't know, but
CZ, like the Borg.
yeah, but yeah, that's crazy where they've heavily increased in price. But all right, well, cool, man. You spouted out about your 1911 for a little bit. Hand me my Glock over there. Let's talk about that. That's fine. Yeah, 21's great, man. Yeah. Okay, the infamous Glock. While I unbox this, I'm going to give you just a touch of... there's no gun in it, bro.
Uh-oh.
It's just a... It could be any Glock, really. I
Just
mean,
grab one out of the...
That's my personal 21, which is in my holster. It's in my range bag or whatever. Yeah. All right, that'll work. This
Thank
is a
you,
Glock
sir.
34.
Gentleman and a scholar.
Yeah. Hey, this one's actually, if anybody's out there, I mean, I don't know when this is going to go, but this one's only $475. These are normally like $680, I think, for these 34s. So Glock, interesting story. This dude, Gaston Glock, that just died like last couple years. He was in his 90s.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he did. You didn't know he died?
No.
Yeah, Gaston Glock finally left the world. Yeah. So back in the 70s, he was contracting with the Asturian military, and he was Austrian himself. And in like 1978, 9, the Asturian military was looking to replace their standard military issue sidearm, their pistol. And he heard, he was making, let me tell you what he was doing for the military. He was making like door jams and window sills and stuff like that.
Oh, that's right. I remember you telling me about that stuff. Not just,
Well, he had plastic made stuff too, but so a lot of PVC stuff he was doing for him, polymer type of stuff. But he was also, it doesn't get into too much depth. I mean, I'm getting this information from his biography about like the actual kind of windowsills and the door jams and stuff that he was making. I think he had some metal stuff that he was making too, but he ended up getting this injection molding kit, and he heard these high-ranking military personnel talking in the hallway about how they're trying to replace the military sidearm Well, he had been a gun enthusiast, and he had used that to make some like prototypes, that injection molding kit for the lower of prototypes. And he's like, "Hey, man, can I get in on this contract?" And in the biography, you know, it states that they kind of chuckled and they're like, "Hey, buddy, anybody can. So if you're already hooked up with the Asturian military and you want to go ahead and put a bid in, go for it." So he did, and then in 1980, the Asturian military ordered 40,000. Take the glasses off. Sorry, man. Glare. The Asturian military ordered 40,000 Glock 17s. So we don't know if the Glock 17, in the biography, it doesn't really state. It says it could be his 17th attempt to make the gun, and that's the trial and error. After 17 times, he came up with a successful run, or if it's because it held 17 rounds. But the Glock 17 was born in 1980 for the Asturian military, 40,000 of them. It ended up coming overseas not too far later to the big land of the guns, the USA. And then we had a horrible FBI shooting in Florida that left agents dead, and they had the Smith & Wesson 5-shot revolver. Dude mowed them down with a Mini 14. They were actually caught with their brass.
When was that?
That was in '86, man. Yeah,
I remember that.
It was like I can't remember what it's called, but it was a Florida like a shootout, bank robbery guy or something like that. But there was
that
a bunch
was the
of
big push to semi-autos.
It
right?
was, man. Yeah, the FBI decided, hey, we can't have these 5-shot revolvers anymore when we're going up against the enemy that has, semi or sometimes fully automatic
superior
firepower. So, Glock was on the market and it was looking. There was a couple field reps in the USA trying to push the product, and nobody thought it was going to be that great because of the polymer lower. Most guns were made out of all steel.
It was like in a Tupperware box thing too. Remember that?
Yeah, it was just ahead of their time, man. So
which are worth a lot of money now.
Yeah, now they are, man. You got an original Gen 1 or Gen 2 Tupperware box from Glock, like that box I had up here earlier. That's standard what they're coming with now. But anyway, yeah, the FBI adopted it, followed by all other law enforcement and everything else, man. And, I remember getting my first Glock when it replaced the 5906. I went through my first tactical team academy. It was like 6 weeks. And I used the whole academy. I used that 5906 because they were using these Armor Academy only guns for that. So I had the decocker and all that stuff, and dealing with the different actions and the hammer of that. And then as soon as I got out, they're like, "Okay, well, cool, man. You're on the team now. So here's your Glock." I'm like, "What is this thing?" And
I think the sheriff's office. I think we went to them. I'm trying to remember in 2000. I think it was 2001 or 2002. Because before then, you there was a certain specific what you could carry. I had the SIG.
Guys were using wheel guns too. They were using
there
the
was
Smith & Wesson
still,
66. A lot of the older guys, man. I mean, they know that.
And then the SO was like, "Nope, everybody's just going to carry this. We're going to keep the same caliber, same what, so that way in a shootout we can use toss mags to each other if need be, the same ones." Yeah, so I think it was 01, 02 that we went to it.
Yeah, I remember the Gen 3, which is what I'm holding right now, I think came out in like 04, 03, 04. So they had already had in 1980 the Gen 1. It was introduced to America in 86. The Gen 2 came out in the 90s. And then, following up on the Gen 3, there's not a lot of differences other than like grip, couple components. I mean, this Gen 3 I think only has 33 parts if you took everything down, including disassembling the magazine. So it's just a real simple, easy gun. Make sure I safety check that.
Was it Gen 5 is when it kind of
4 and 5 changed it. It started trying to keep up with all of its competitors. It's kind of crazy how it worked because the Gen 4s came out strictly because everybody else copied the Gen 3s. Yeah. I mean, they outsold the world, right? But in the mid to late 90s, Glock was outselling every other pistol company on Earth.
They were reliable and cheap.
They're inexpensive to produce. They're easy to learn. When the lab sent me down in I don't remember what it was, like 2011 or something like that. I went down to Albuquerque. And they did like this 3-week armorer's course on all these weapons they use. And they use all kinds of stuff through the DOE, man. They use really cool stuff. So I remember doing Glock like the first day. And I'm like, why are we here for this long? Because it was like a 4-hour course, man. It was like nothing. Well, then they got into Smith & Wesson, then they got into SIG,
it was-
then they got into HK, and, those were days of courses because they were just so much more complex than
Well, they
the Glock.
literally built it for the lowest common denominator being able to operate it.
That was Gaston Glock's vision. Is he looked at it and said, "Hey, you've got all of these complex pieces and components that all coincide together. I'm going to make this simple thing that anybody can understand it. Most people, if they want to really get, this is a field strip. With the tip of this pin, I could take the rest of the thing down. It's a real easy." It's a real easy process. It's very, very simple to learn. And you retain it. When you take the SIG, if I break a 229 down, okay, we're gonna be here for a while, right? And when we're all done, you're gonna say, "How do I start to do that? What do I do?"
Or the car.
Yeah, the car's a different
The
story,
CZ?
man. Yeah, CZ, my God, yeah. So anyway, on Glock, this is really, really simple, and that's what I think, that KISS acronym, that keep it simple,
stupid.
that's why it's so successful. On top of the simplicity, the reliability, say what you will about any other gun, including the Glock, right? I get it. On the internet now, everybody's got their opinions. Well, I'm going to tell you, I've got over 1 million rounds shot through my life. The majority of them have been through the Glock. It's reliable. I don't care what anybody says. If they don't like the comfort,
How many did you put through that one?
I don't know if they could see it, but I bought my SWAT gun back, so it was
a lot,
It was
wasn't it?
Griswold, I think, that had that first. I think he got it in like 04.
Yeah. There's
and
a
then
ton of rounds through it.
Yeah, so he had it. They trained typically between 1,000 and 1,500 rounds a month on the team, because you get like different training
range
days,
days.
range days. Yeah. So if you do the math on that, it's probably not 300,000, but it's pushing it.
Or SWAT range days.
Yeah, the SWAT range days were really, really intense. They were really fun. So yeah, I actually took a picture of it when we were on a SWAT training day, and opened up my shop and stuff like that. Things are special. It's like, hey, Gollum or whatever, my precious or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna put the picture up. That's cool. But yeah, and I've only changed one part. It's got the original barrel. It's got the original guide rod. It's got the original guide rod spring, man. It's got all of the original stuff that it came with. I did change the little dog bone that keeps in the locking lug, because ultimately, as I shot it, the vibration of the chute started like pushing it out. So I just replaced that one part, like a $9 part, and that's it. And that thing still shoots. I still take it out to the range. I give instruction with it. I have fun with it. It's just an awesome gun.
Oh, yeah.
So,
You
yeah,
can
Glocks
beat
are
the
great.
hell
man.
out of it, and it'll still go bang.
You can. The dependability is incredible with these things. That's why they're so successful. So when you get other guns, mainly with polymer lowers, because Gaston Glock wasn't the first one to try out the polymer lower. He was just the most successful, and the one that it just took off. It grabbed a hold of everybody, and it was like, oh, this works. But when you look at like your Smith & Wesson right now, it's like the M&Ps and the M&P 2.0s. Like, guess what they come from? They come from this. This is basically the rest of the industry saying, look, if you can't beat them, guys, let's join them.
It's the Godfather.
That's what we're gonna do. That's it. So, yeah, I heavily recommend Glock, but I recommend the other ones too. They're all really good firearms. You're not gonna find, if you go into a gun store like modern firearms today, especially California, we have the drop test, which I completely disagree with. But yeah, I know. I don't like it either, man. We'll get
And
on that
that's
in a minute. We'll get on
another
that.
thing.
Yeah.
We can only get Gen 3s.
Okay, so we can only get Gen 3s. The Gen 4s, the Gen 5s are good too, but the Gen 3s are proven, and they last forever and hundreds of thousands of rounds. So we'll get into like how we hate politics in a minute. Let me drink to that real quick. But if you come into a gun store in California, and I can't speak for anybody else outside the States because they have other gun stores, but you're typically not going to find a POS gun. And when I say that, I mean a piece of shit gun, right? You're typically going to find guns that are pretty quality. The industry in general and all the manufacturers are advanced enough, and they're making trials and tribulations and failures and successes. And for the most part, because the gun industry is heavily regulated, they're not making like piece of shits. They're making stuff that's good, reliable. You might not have the trigger you want, you might not have the feel in your hand that you want, but it should work. There's a lot of good warranties out there too, but I think that's owed to this right here. I do. I think that you took the complexity out of something, and the advancement was the simplicity, and as a result,
You made it easier.
He did. He made it easier. You've just got like incredible accuracy and dependability and reliability. So yeah, that's what I have to say about Glock. Glock is incredible. I love them, and I love all guns, but this has definitely been one that I've shot more than most.
What would the stress points be on like maintaining it? Like, how did you care for it to get it to be that
Okay,
quarter million?
so here's the deal about maintenance. The rule of firearms is unless you're a hunter that wants a fouled shot, and we can get onto that on another day, make sure you put your firearms away clean. People are like, when should I clean it? Well, when you put it away. You should put it away in a dry, clean environment, so you shouldn't have to worry about mildew, mold, moisture, that kind of thing attacking it. It should be safe, so if you put it away for a day or if you put it away for 2 years, it should be the same as when you pick it back up. So if you put it away dirty, right, that's when your carbon has a chance to start slowly eating away at the elements it's made out of. So take it out. It's going to be clean from the manufacturer. Go shoot the hell out of that thing. Beat it up. Put 200, put 1,000 rounds through it if you want.
There's a reason in remember in boot camp, they had us just constantly, all the time.
Oh, yeah, man.
Even when you didn't shoot the rifle,
Clean it.
Clean it.
Your
Clean it.
downtime was cleaning it. It's getting you to know it.
Because
Yeah, exactly.
it's kind of getting you used to this practice, because it's your lifeline.
Yeah.
And you want to keep it clean so it will go bang.
Oh, a lot of new gun owners too that buy Glocks. Don't clean it before you shoot it for the first time.
Yeah.
Glock actually puts a copper sulfate honing compound inside of the slide rails. And that is basically, they're pumping these things out in such mass production that some of the parts and pieces that actually marry up to the slide may not be honed very well. They might not be rounded off because the machine just cut them out and spit them out. So they put this compound in order to do that as the gun's cycling.
It's kind of like
in
a
action.
lapping.
It is. It's a lapping compound, basically, yeah. So don't clean that stuff off before you go shoot it. Just take it right out of the box, go shoot the shit out of it. And then once you're done, before you put it away, that's when you clean it. And when you clean it, you want to wipe all that stuff off dry first. And then you want to use some type of lubricant or oil. I like to use stuff that's, thin, viscous. I don't like to use grease. I know a lot of people like to use, some kind of a butter or something like that. But for pistols, it's not really necessary because it can gum up over time.
Yeah.
I've had my issues.
Well, especially with tight tolerance ones too. The
Oh
butter
yeah,
ones,
if you're getting something that especially when you get advanced and you have this guy make you a gun or this guy modify one of your guns, you use what he tells you to use, because you get yourself into something like, cool man, I got the best in the market, and this is like the butter or the jam or whatever kind of cleaning compound you think you're going to use. His stuff is not all loosey-goosey like this, his stuff is like, he's getting it down to that tolerance that is at expert level. So use a thin viscous oil. Just use the oil he gives you. If he does it for you, he's gonna give you a.
Well, besides that too, we like Ballistol.
I love Ballistol. I really do. Ballistol's awesome, man. That
Smells
stuff.
good, too.
Well, I was introduced by a customer probably a little over 10 years, maybe like 11, 12 years ago. And I do a lot of restoration and reconstruction of older firearms with wood stocks, teak woods, walnuts, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And he's like, "Are you selling Ballistol?" And I'm like, "What is that?" He goes, "Bro, you own a gun store? You don't even know what Ballistol is?" "Well, educate me, dude. Tell me what it is, So he did. He gave me the rundown, and the guy was a Ballistol fan. He gave me the whole rundown. He's like, "Man, this stuff was made in 1904 in the Germans. They used it in World War I. They blah, blah, blah." And he's telling me all this, and I'm like,
Do we have any
all right.
bottles?
Yeah, there's a bunch of bottles over there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, man, I got it, and then I start talking to the people in the industry around me about it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, the Ballistol's great, I love it, man. I've adopted that stuff. I absolutely love it.
It works really good.
It works great.
It cleans and lubricates.
Yeah, it's got like mild detergents in it. It's non-toxic, you know. In World War One, the Germans were using it to like suture wounds and all that stuff, you know. So it's got different applications. You could use it on leather, wood, vinyl, metal, anything. It's actually good if you're into cars and auto parts and stuff too. You know, it does a pretty good job for that. You know, because it like revitalizes different plastics and vinyls.
Shines
and all
it
that.
up.
Yeah, shines it up. Anyway, and you can like mix it with water too. It's water soluble. So like the black powder shooter guys make this stuff called moose milk out of it. It's like a 50-50 mix of
Or you
water
can
and
use it as
volatile.
for cutting fluid too. It
Yeah,
has a,
that's right. You can use it machine oil. Yeah. I
It
mean, this is
has
like a
like
total
50, not a
Ballastol
50-50,
commercial right
like
here,
a,
right?
Yeah, no kidding. Like a 75-25 water, that stuff.
Yeah,
you
you
can
can.
use it for
And
different things.
You can go to Ballastol's website and get those different mixture ratios. But no, it's good stuff. So I use that stuff primarily. Like we have it in the back. We have it in squirt bottles and everything when we're doing this. It's not the only thing on the market. You don't have to use that, but I mean, it's really, really good stuff. So I'm picking that. You know, as something to talk about. But that's something good to put your stuff away with, because you clean your gun, you get done shooting it. Now you're going to put it away. You don't know if you're going to see it in 6 weeks, 6 hours, 6 months. Hey, maybe you don't even touch it for 6 years. Use something like that, because that'll keep it clean. It'll keep it protected, and the corrosion won't have an opportunity to get at your gun if you do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Heck yeah.
All right, so I've gone off on a kick on a Glock. You talked about 1911s. What other does Antonio have for us?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's
what?
bitch about gun laws. Let's
Oh,
get
okay.
let's get all
bitch
pissed
fest.
off about gun laws.
Got any more in there?
Let me grab you more, man.
Oh, wait.
All right, so we're in California. Here's some of the stuff that I disagree with. I mean, I could go like I could literally talk about. There's like probably 100 and something that I disagree with in California. There is like 8 real big ones. So let me talk about the 10-day wait. All right. 10-day wait, 10 24-hour period wait. You come into a gun store. You want to buy a gun. All right. Forget about all the other stuff. We're just going to talk about the 10-day wait. You get done with the registration. It's paper submitted and electronically submitted. And now you cannot gain actual possession of the firearm or take it home, take it out of the gun store for 10 24-hour periods. Now, I understand to an extent where that might be applicable, because it's called a cool-off period. And where it's for is like this, right? So when I say this, it's going to make sense to anybody that hears it, you know. Let's say you're arguing with your spouse or your roommate or your neighbor, and you're like, F this person, man. You know what? I'm going to go buy a gun, and I'm going to frickin' shoot him. Bad news all around. So the idea of the state of California implementing a 10-day cool-off period is that you will, in 10 days, literally change your mind. You'll cool off. You'll think about it. And you're like, what the fuck was I thinking, man? You know, I'm going to fucking shoot my neighbor? Hell no, I'm not going to do that. I can't believe I just spent all this money on this fucking gun. You know, all right, that's a valid thing right there, you know. But it applies for people that already own guns as well. So this is where I get, like, messed up with it. Yeah. You mean to tell me that somebody that came in and bought a firearm on March 1st and is waiting 10 days, now they come in to pick their firearm up on March the 10th or 11th, and they see a gun that they like, well, they've already got possession of a firearm because they just came on their 10th day to pick it up. You mean to tell me that they have to wait another 10 days for the one that they just... I mean, that to me doesn't seem... That seems like it's infringing on an amendment right to me.
Yeah.
Okay, here's something else. Now this person is a CCW carrier, meaning not only have they been a gun enthusiast for a while, but they've been such an enthusiast that they've decided, hey, I'm going to take my Smith & Wesson Model 60 or my Kimber Ultra Carry or whatever, and I'm going to go to the sheriff's department, fill out an application, get vetted, take a class, okay, shoot the firearm, prove to a certified instructor that I am okay, get the certificate, turn it in, pay for the CCW certificate, get a certificate from the state of California through my local law enforcement entity that says, hey, I'm a responsible gun owner and I am okay to carry a firearm in public. That person has to wait 10 days. I mean, dude, if they wanted to, if that person,
They could have done it already.
They had the gun on their person to do it, right?
The way it feels is California comes up with, according common sense, gun laws that have zero common sense. You know what it's like?
Bingo.
It's like they go, hey, let's write some crazy, stupid shit for laws. Each one, everybody, write down one. Let's put it in a thing. We'll shake it up. We'll have Joe Bob pick out one. We'll put that. Watch, that'll piss them off. I swear to God, that's what it seems like.
Well, yeah. So, as these gun laws continue to
Got off on a
progress,
tangent, but
no, it's true, man. You're absolutely right. As these gun laws start to progress, I feel the same way. Like I'm suspicious about it, and I honestly think that there are senators and individuals that have a certain following that have hyped up on their own. They have hyped up their following and their voter base to vilify the firearms industry and firearms people that are interested in the industry. And that's how they're getting more votes. Is like they have to have something that they can be the hero for, right? Like, we're the hero. We're making you wait 10 days.
Make
And that's
us evil.
Yeah. If you've got a CCW carrier, I just read the article from the CPRA
That's right.
this morning, actually, man,
Yeah.
before we opened up. You came in, and I was just finishing up that article, man, on statistics of negligent discharges, injury discharges, and death discharges that were caused by firearms owners. To wrap it up, man, comparatively to everything else, it's like 0.03% of all injuries and deaths are owned by a CCW carrier. So, like, they're basically non-existent, man. So you're looking at, I don't know the numbers, man. It's in the article from the CPRA. They do a really good job, which is California Pistol and Rifle Association. They've been around for a long time, and they're a Second Amendment litigation group. I gotta be honest, I'm glad we have guys like that, man. I mean, as a consumer, as a business owner, I always think like, man, our guys aren't being aggressive enough. But if we didn't have them, I don't know if I would have a gun store. I don't know if I would have the right to carry, or I really think that California, if California could, and the powers that be, I think that they would say, look, the guns are for the law enforcement entities that are active, that protect our political viewpoints, and that's it.
Yep.
We don't want them for anyone else, because it does give someone that freedom. It gives them that level of that playing field. If it doesn't matter how big or small you are, like, I can protect myself. You know what I mean?
An unarmed society is a controlled society.
There you go. Yeah. Right. So yeah, the 10-day wait, man. I think that needs to be looked at. I know it's being litigated against. The drop test, dude. How frustrating is that?
It's extortion. We were talking about it earlier. It's extortion.
So if you don't know what the drop test is, California, it says, hey, we'll let the manufacturers sell the guns in our state. However, there's some conditions behind that. We don't trust that they've spent multi-millions of dollars on research and development, and we don't trust that they're safe with these firearms. So we need to have our own third-party, out-of-state laboratories to do whatever they do with the guns, and that will ensure that they're safe. And then there's a few things that they have to do, which, like your Glock Generation 3 is actually exempt from, because these things were produced prior to 2007. In 2007, our own Terminator himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger, is the one that signed in the drop test. So if these guns don't have a magazine, they go. Okay. Anything after this that's not grandfathered, that doesn't have a magazine in it, it's called a magazine disconnect. So basically, the magazine being out of the firearm will disconnect the ability for the trigger to send the firing pin forward to ignite a round.
A loaded chamber indicator.
They also have to have a loaded chamber indicator. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that they need for that drop test. So companies like Glock, okay, that are huge and really don't need the California market, and the California market's huge. By the way, anybody that's listening or watching, if you're in the state of California and you think gun sales are bad in the state of California, gun sales are not bad.
Huge.
This state outsells every other
Huge.
state every year. Okay, Texas does not sell as many guns as California. Florida does not sell as many guns as California. Tennessee does not sell. There's no
Which
other
is
state in
crazy.
America.
We still get outvoted here. I don't get it.
Well, we have so many people, so there's different people that buy those firearms, but we still sell a ton of guns. And we have these regulations on these firearms, and it is an extortion. It really is, man. It's all money that the government's.
They have other
generating.
ones that they're coming up with. Like I was talking to you about that AB 1333.
Oh yeah, man.
What's
But
by?
that's not out yet, though. That's
No,
just a
not yet. But
proposal,
they're
right?
trying to push that one by Rick Zabur.
It's the same thing that law enforcement went through like 4 years ago, maybe 5 years
The
ago.
self-defense law.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's changing reasonable to necessary. I mean, it'll turn self-defense on its head. I mean, it's bad.
Well, getting back to the drop test, this is something that is not. This is something that the test is California. The government of California is saying, look, unless you go through our regulations and our additional specifications, you can't sell your product in our state. Sig Sauer, I think, has probably been the best, followed by Springfield. Ruger's been really good too about that. Smith & Wesson's been really good. But these guys are saying, look, we want the California market. We want the public to be able to appreciate quality modern firearms. So we'll go ahead and submit, and we'll do the magazine disconnect, and we'll do the loaded chamber indicator, and we'll send out and pay the extortion fee and get our products into California. So now you've got Sig Sauer producing a multitude of products. What really, really changed that, man, was last year in 24, taking away the microstamp rule. And that's a whole other state, man. That was Arnie too, dude. Like the Terminator.
Thanks a lot, Arnie.
I know, man. The guy I was like watching all the cool movies and stuff, man, when I was growing up, dude. Like that guy did all that. But whatever. I still like Arnie movies. I don't care.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do, man? But
It is what it is.
yeah, the drop test I hate as a salesperson that owns a store in California. These are some of the rules and regulations. Like, okay, the 10-day wait. Give me a break, man. Like, I get it. You're a first-time gun buyer, but you already got them at home.
You already got it.
You have the ability to do this stuff. Like, don't make somebody wait 10 days. Okay, and a perfect example is like, oh, well, we're going to do ammo background checks, which I don't know what other states do them, but I know California is like the tip of the spear on that, which I disagree with.
Yes.
But if you can do an instant background check for ammunition, then you can do an instant background check for firearms. I get so many people that come that are from the Bay Area that have cabins or whatever up in the hills, and 10 days is like a huge inconvenience for them. So it's costing everyone. Like, it's costing me. It's also costing the state for tax revenue. When they come in and they want to buy it, and they're like, oh, I gotta wait another 10 days. I'm like, yeah, man. I'm sorry. You gotta
Well,
do it.
it's a massive infringement also.
Yeah, I believe it is too. Yeah,
Massive.
not just the cost factor
it's
behind it, but I think it's an
infringement on it,
infringement
yeah.
because you're denying individuals the right to their products.
Yeah.
And then there's modern products that are out there, right? That
are
have
safer.
That are safer.
Yeah.
And you're denying them from that. So yeah.
Oh yeah. It doesn't make any sense. You'll have a lot of the opponents to that saying, "Well, what does it matter? What does it matter?" So they have to wait 10 days or the 30-day thing. I mean, so what? It's still gonna get it. Doesn't matter. Oh, it does. It doesn't say there in the Second Amendment you have to wait for a while.
And I get that the amendments need to be amended because I understand we're not, I get it. We're not living in these colonial times and everything else. I know things get modernized, that we got to keep up with some kind of a time. I just feel that the report, especially, man, that came out that I was reading, where it stated that the regions of CCW carriers decreased in crime, violent crime especially. Criminals are, they're criminals. You say what you want about them. but every human being, whether you're a criminal or not, has an intelligence to them. And the criminals understand, you know, they're not out there trying to attack the people they feel have the ability to stop them or hurt them.
They're looking
not.
for prey.
They're looking for prey.
Yeah.
They're the predators looking for
They're
prey.
wolves looking for sheep.
There you go. Unarmed sheep.
Yeah.
You give that sheep an Uzi.
It
that
turns
wolf's
into
gonna
a
run
sheepdog.
away. This is a sheepdog, exactly.
Heck yeah. What else is on the agenda?
All right, we bitched and moaned. What do you think, Antone?
Where are we at?
We're only 4:36, man. I got Anthony giving me notes saying the current climate of firearms address legal challenges, which we're doing,
got
self-defense
that, yeah.
rights, and cultural shifts. So I can kind of talk about that a little bit with these rules and regulations. Culturally, so I've only been doing this since 2008. I started out of my house, like 2010. You know, I think I got the first brick and mortar store. It was a pretty rapid advancement for me. I've seen a lot of laws change. I've talked to guys that have been in the industry to get advice for a lot longer than me. People, you know, that in when I got into this business in 2010 or 2008 and brick and mortar in 2010, I sought out advice from some individuals that had already had brick and mortar stores for 40 years. So they have seen a lot, man. I mean, you look at that and you say, these guys been doing it in the 70s, you know. It's a different world, I think, you know. I didn't experience it back then. I can't imagine what it would have been like. I bet the 80s were probably great, man, with all the surplus stuff going on, you know. You're buying it for next to nothing and just flipping it.
You used to be able to go into like a gas station or a bait and tackle.
Yeah, man. Well, absolutely. I get out of the Marine Corps, man, and I remember doing that. I remember going you know, bait and tackle gas stores and everything would have ammunition or firearms. Hardware stores would have them. You still find some in California. Back east, man, where the gun laws, when we go to Arkansas to visit Garrett, we always stop into pawn shops and gun shops and stuff just to say hi, see what's going on in the climate, you know. It's still the same over there. It's like they're like living in our past, right?
Yeah.
Where we were like 30, 40 years
Free
ago.
America.
Yeah, they're living there because and you talk to those guys and there's some just like straight meat and potato gun stores, but for the most part it's like guns are everywhere. So if you're gonna do that, you have to supplement that income with you know, hardware or furniture or something else, you know. So you'll get most of your Ace Hardwares back east, you know, they sell guns. They got an FFL on file, you know, from the feds, and they're selling them. I've seen it change pretty dramatically. Like I remember when Obama was president, man, the 2012 Sandy Hook shooting happened, and you know, very unfortunate event. Obama never said he was going to take guns away. He just got behind a podium and stated, we need to have an adjustment in the nation, and there possibly needs to be some restrictions. It's kind of all he
like
said, dude.
like a common sense.
Yeah, common sense restrictions for
yeah.
guns, right? And dude, it just like everyone went nuts with that, and they're like, "Oh, I gotta go buy an AR. I gotta buy anything I gotta buy." So like that was the time, you know, that my brick and mortar store and everything was early, and it was just explosive. And of course, in the state of California, you had was that Jerry Brown? That was Jerry Brown. That was governor, right?
Yeah.
I think 2012.
Yeah.
I think so, man.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was Jerry, and he
that
was
Arnie?
making. No, I don't think it was Arnie, dude. I think Arnie was out, bud. I think. Anyway, man, whoever it was also making statements in support of that. Like, hey,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
was
California.
24 because that's when Paris was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right,
Yeah.
bro. Bobby was. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
And Brown
dude.
fell asleep in the front row
Yep. That's right, man.
at his funeral.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That's a whole other story to talk about too. But yeah, that occurred, and then California kind of like, of course, the California way, the tip of the spear. We're going to lead by example and everything, and they just started like getting aggressive. You had Senator Anthony Portantino, who's no longer a senator. I think Chip took his place or whatever, but he's always been aggressive, and his whole game is like get guns out of California. And that just like ramped sales through the roof, man. Like everybody was going crazy. Yeah, so you saw that evolution happen people from there and legislation from there decided to change. So now it's a different world, man. It's like we've got laws upon laws upon laws. Every year, multiple times, the DROS system kicks out
Something new.
different acknowledgments of laws that have happened. Some of those, like because we're in California and we have this party of state where the Senate and the House and the governor's office are all the same party, they can make decisions without getting some of this stuff on the ballot. So you just get surprised with it. You come in like first of the year or mid-year and you log onto the DROS system, you're like, I got an acknowledgement. And I'm like, what? We got to do this now? When did this happen? We didn't vote on this. So none of it's even like really the power of the people. It's just kind of like your government making these rules and regulations. And it's been
Power of the agenda.
it is the power of the agenda, man. I believe that. It's been a huge turn. It really has. It's been huge. I've noticed in the limited amount of time that I've been doing this, which in one lifespan is starting to become, more and more. But the amount of time, if you look at overall with guns in America, it's not that long, that I've been doing this. And there is a massive change, man, a huge change in the restrictions of citizens. And yeah, I do believe it is an infringement.
And like we were saying, the agenda, it's like a push to change culture. And they're starting it young. I mean, like schools, talking about guns are bad, guns are bad. My little one got in trouble for, not trouble, was told not to wear it again, a SHOT Show t-shirt.
Okay, yeah, so
it's being taught
yeah.
at a young
You
age.
can't wear a SHOT Show t-shirt. I don't know what SHOT Show t-shirt he had, but the ones that I've got don't even have pictures of guns on them.
No, it just said
It
SHOT
just
Show.
says the SHOT Show Vegas.
And the year. Yeah.
It has like a picture of one of the Bombardier girls or whatever painted on the bomb of a plane or something like that.
Well, it wasn't that one. This one was just said SHOT Show, and then the year of it, Vegas. And that was it. But it's like it's, you teach them when they're young. This is bad. This is bad. Don't listen to anybody else. Listen to this is bad. They grow up, and then they don't like firearms, and then it just gets bigger than there.
Get them while they're young, man.
Pretty soon,
That's it. Yeah.
no one likes it. That's
I just
what
had
it
a
looks like.
conversation with someone about youth and firearms, and like we do so much adult training, and I don't know what it would take to get like a youth. Someone reached out to me. I think
Firearms
it was Egner,
class.
Man. Yeah, Egner reached out to me a while ago, man. I don't know if he was with the Scouts or what youth organization he was with, but he was talking about, hey man, is there any way we could get like the OPD range? Well, my insurance said no to it because most of them were under the age of 14.
Yeah.
So there's like, no, man, we're directed towards this. But it does. I mean, you need to, I don't know if the Boy Scouts are still doing it or the Scouts or whatever are doing
Yeah,
it
I doubt
anymore.
it.
But there does need to be something for the youth to, I think you train someone, on like little single shots and everything else and get them kind of excited for these kind of things. And then let them have the understanding of the devastation of this firearm, and then they grow up just knowing, like, don't
Training.
abuse this. Yeah,
Teaching
like,
them.
don't abuse this. You know what I
No.
mean? This is just like, this is a kid, right? Like, don't abuse this. We should also be doing that stuff with credit cards and everything.
Yeah,
for our
it's a
kids, man.
tool, not a toy. Yeah. Yes, I don't know. It's just a lot of times it looks like we've lost our way. Hopefully we're getting it back, but I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know what the future of firearms is. I know the industry's pumping them out like mad.
Yeah.
Like, there's a bunch of new stuff. You go to the SHOT Show, and technology's definitely advancing. Was it you that just showed me the video of the round counter and stuff like that, man, on the firearm? Somebody just showed me.
No, it was Chris.
Oh, that's right. Lewis was in here.
Yeah, the
and
tech
he's
guy.
like, dude, have you heard about this? It looks like it was at the SHOT Show. Did you see it? I
It's
didn't.
a space gun. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
it was crazy. It
I
had
didn't
like
see
a
it.
digital backplate on it,
Shows
you
you the
know,
round
and it
kept
shows
track.
you. Yeah, oh yeah, and in perpetuity, the life of the gun, it kept track. So like the gun that they were showing it with had like 4,000 rounds on it or whatever.
Well,
it
you
shows
keep
you
track
how many,
too. How many you
how
shot?
many you shot, how many you
Yeah.
have in the magazine.
If you take it out, you can load it up and it would register that amount. It was pretty insane. It was like a RoboCop gun or something.
It was. It had a
It
little
was pretty
port
wild.
on
And
it to charge
the,
it.
The barrel was below, usually where the recoil, the guide rod was. The guide rod was where the barrel was, and the barrel was where the guide rod usually is. It was upside down. It
Oh,
was
that's
crazy.
right, man. That's like the Rhino. The,
Yeah,
the-
it was
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
a
the revolver.
RoboCop gun.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where things go. So if we have advancement in firearms like that, are we going to have legalities that allow the public? Because I think I think as far as like America goes, you know, like we're not our country without the ability to arm ourselves up a little bit. You know, like that's how it was founded.
The
I
Second
get it.
Amendment is what makes us.
It is. It's what makes us, for sure. And I don't think some of these amendments would be what they are without the other ones.
They
around
would be
them, you
gone
know?
and taken away.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
All right. So let's see what else we got going on here in our first BS session. Let's see. Address common misconceptions. Do you really need to clean your gun after every use?
Yeah, we talked about the.
We talked a little bit about that. I think you don't like have to, you know, but it's
good
very
practice.
heavily recommended.
It's good practice.
It really is, man. If you, I mean, this is kind of jumping back to that certain subject, but if you, I would just say, like, you know, make it like a religious practice,
Yeah.
you know, like, hey, man, put the thing away clean, you know, because if you put that thing away, if you use some ammunition, you know, maybe your buddy's making reloads and he thinks that they're like really good and they suck.
Yeah, I can tell you.
And now you've got like unburnt,
Trying to
shitty
figure out how to
chemicals.
tell them, dude, your stuff sucks.
Well, you just did, yeah. Final thoughts, shout outs, yeah, this and that. Firearms, optics, accessories.
Well, we get a lot of people that come in with reloads and wanting to show us reloads.
We used to not allow them on the range, man. And now I'm like, hey, if you trust your reloads and you want to come out to the range, that's cool. But if your reloads fail you and it's holding up the class, because every time somebody gets, you know, a malfunction on their firearm, you know, Mike or I have to go out there and we have to help them out. And sometimes it's real quick. It's a little tap, rack, bang, no problem. But sometimes it's like, dude, it's happening again. It's happening again. It's happening again. Well, if that's because of the quality of those ammunition, which we've had mostly with reloads. Reloading is like an art. You know, you like when Columbo was doing those reloads, man, dude, he went through a lot of stuff to hone down those recipes to get them precise. You know, he really did. And when he did, dude, hats off to him, man. They were way better than factory ammo. They were like so quality. When you went to clean the firearm, it was so easy to clean. The accuracy was just bar none. It was awesome. But it took him a lot to get to
practice.
that
You
point.
remember that? Like I was saying, I mean, we had that one customer, if you remember, he was an older dude, and he brought it in. It was something, we did some work on something, and it was a reload, and that's all he was shooting was reloads, and he brought it back. Hey, it's not working. The gun's not working. And what were you shooting? I think you asked, what are you shooting? He pulled it out, and we look at it. Not only was it steel casings, they were all they were loaded all over the place. Like we were trying to tell the guy,
You need better
these
ammo,
sucks,
bud.
bro.
Yeah,
These
get some
suck. But
better
we're trying to say,
ammo.
oh yeah, but this and that.
Well, the only Glock frame I've ever seen cracked and busted was from reloads.
Yeah.
It was a Glock 20, a 10 mil. Dude was putting rifle powder in his 10 millimeter pistol cartridge and loading it up to the top. And I think honestly, if it wasn't a Glock, I think there would have been injury. I
Yeah.
do, man. So he shot the thing. It had a big old cracked frame. He's like, I don't know what's wrong with it. I'm like, I've never seen this before. This is the first time for everything. You're right. I've had people bring me guns constantly and everything. This is the first time for everything. Cracked, just ruined frame.
Overloaded it. And
Yeah. He overloaded a 10 mil, which is already a hot round.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's like, oh man. And then he's telling me later, because I'm talking to him, telling him like, look, dude, I've never seen this. I don't know where it is. So now we get into like the meat and potatoes about like, what were you doing? What's going on? Truth starts coming out. Okay, man, I was
It was
shooting my
reloads.
reloads, everything else,
Yeah.
you know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, dude.
And then he's like, yeah, man, I spaced it and put my rifle ammo where my pistol
Jesus.
powder was, my rifle powder where my pistol powder was. Like, dude, that stuff's so explosive, you know? don't do that. So you got to know what you're doing. You really do.
Well,
Like,
now we ask them all the time, where were you shooting? Were they reloads?
yeah.
That's what we ask people all the time.
Yeah,
Were they
any
reloads?
kind of damage to the firearm, any kind of like serious
Something's wrong.
malfunctions.
It's not working right.
It's
Use
not
a
always
reload.
the case. Sometimes
No.
factory ammo too, and sometimes the guns. I mean, you have a fail rate of a certain percentage. You know, even Glock, the almighty Glock that I say never fails and stuff, they have failure rates too, man. It happens, but it doesn't happen that often. So yeah, you definitely make sure that your firearm is clean. You can take reloads out to our class if you want. We used to not allow it. Now we say go ahead and do it if you're confident with it. The first thing I hear out of people talking about reloads is like, well, mine shoot better than the others. Maybe.
And everybody
Yeah.
says that, though.
I know they do. Everybody says that. Maybe they do. All right. So go ahead and do it. Just don't hold up the class or other people that are there to get something out of it. You know, for foul ups that might happen that we have to stop the class for to fix your stuff or whatever. But yeah, put them away clean, man. Put those guns away clean. Absolutely.
Hmm?
I feel like we're getting to a point. We kind of wrap it up.
Reaching.
Yeah, we're reaching. So let's close it up, man. Yeah, it was fun, dude. I had a good time, man. Let me get you a cheers. Drink a little beer. Talk a little shit. I want to do it again.
So that means stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Fred's Firearms, Tuesday through Friday. Sometimes 5 o'clock, sometimes 6 o'clock.
Freedom
but
Files.
Yeah, Freedom Files, man. Other than that, yeah, stay tuned, guys, and bye, everybody. It was fun.